Little Red Riding Hood to Baby Girl, read by Your Panjers. Happy birthday. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl. Everyone loved her, most of all her grandmother. So one day, she gave her a red velvet hat. The girl always wore the hat, and since then she has been called Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her grandmother was very ill, so Little Red Riding Hood went to bring her wine and biscuits. That would surely make her feel better. Her mother told her not to go off the path and to be very careful. She also had to be polite and say goodbye to her grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood promised to do exactly that and went on her way. Grandma lived deep in the forest, more than half an hour's walk from the village. While walking through the forest, Little Red Riding Hood encountered the wolf. She did not know he was dangerous, so she was not afraid at all. "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf said. "I'm going to bring Grandma wine and biscuits because she's sick," said Little Red Riding Hood. Where does your grandmother live?" the wolf then asked. "Less than half an hour further into the forest, in the cottage under the big oak tree," said Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf, meanwhile, was thinking of something else entirely. That Little Red Riding Hood was nice and tender, what a delicious morsel, and would probably taste better than the tough grandmother. If he was smart, he could eat both of them. So the wolf came along and said, "Look at these beautiful flowers. Don't you want to look around for a bit?" Little Red Riding Hood wanted to pick a beautiful bouquet for her grandmother. It was still early, so she had plenty of time. And so she left the path and wandered deeper and deeper into the forest. Meanwhile, the wolf walked straight to grandmother's house and knocked on the door.
"Who is there?"
said grandmother.
"Little Red Riding Hood with wine and biscuits. Open up,"
said the big bad wolf.
"Oh, come in there. I can't get up,"
said grandmother. When the wolf was inside, he jumped onto the bed and ate grandmother in one go. Then he put on her glasses, nightgown, and nightcap, closed the curtains, and got into her bed. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage with her arms full of flowers, she was surprised to find the door wide open. Inside, everything seemed so strange. She became afraid, but didn't know why. Good morning," Little Red Riding Hood said, but no one answered. Then she opened the curtains. In the bed lay grandmother, but she looked so strange with her sleeping cap over her face. "Oh, grandmother," she said, "what big ears you have."
"All the better to hear you with, my child,"
was the reply. "But grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. All the better to see you with, my dear. And grandmother, what large hands you have. All the better to hug you with, dear. Oh my, grandmother, what a terribly big mouth you have. All the better to eat you with, my dear. With that, the wolf jumped out of bed, chased Little Red Riding Hood, and swallowed her up. His belly was so full, so he fell asleep soundly on the bed and started snoring like a king. A while later, a hunter came by the cottage, and he thought to himself, "Whoa, that old woman is snoring very loudly. I'm going to have a look to see what's going on." He saw the wolf in the bed and he said, "So there you are, you sinner. I've been looking for you for so long." The hunter wanted to shoot the wolf with his rifle, but he suddenly realized that the wolf might have eaten grandmother. If that was the case, he might be able to save her. So he grabbed the wolf with his strong hunter arms and started to squeeze the wolf very tightly. All of a sudden, a red cap appeared from the wolf's mouth, and Little Red Riding Hood came spilling out. "I was so afraid in the wolf's belly. It was so dark in there," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Please save my grandmother." The hunter gave another huge squeeze, and then grandmother came out as well, still alive. The hunter filled the wolf's belly with stones and threw him, and he went to the bottom of the lake. The wolf was never heard of or seen again. The hunter, grandmother, and Little Red Riding Hood were so happy. Grandmother and the hunter drank wine, and they all shared the biscuits, and everybody felt much better. The hunter then made sure that Little Red Riding Hood got home safely, and Little Red Riding Hood promised to never stray from the path again and always listen to her mother. The end.